shoot. Hey guys, hey, good evening. So, welcome to the first session. I'll say we'll call this a 4 session series of mindset magic. And so this is something that I have been wanting to do for a while. And now I just feel like I'm in a really good place to do it. I wanted to make sure I had done a good amount of work on myself before we got into this, because this is it, you guys. Like, this is where the magic happens. It's in our mind. And I'm hoping to I'm gonna put this and develop this into like a coaching program. It's gonna be part of the signature coaching, the Soul Relaunch signature coaching program that it already exists, but this is some added content that I've put on the platform for the clients that I have now who are doing the work and wanting to know, like, they cannot get enough. I love these women. So, and I love all of you. I love everybody in my space. I want to see you guys, all of you. I want to see you rise. I want to see you step into your power. I want to just be there for you when you step into being a leader. Maybe you're already a leader and like you just want to strengthen those skills. It's like we all need someone else to be a mirror for the best version, like to let us know, or like to hold the belief in ourselves when we can't find it for ourselves. It's so beautiful and magical when you can share a space with other powerful women and men and just human beings. It's amazing. So last week we talked about self-sabotage. Over the last, couple years that we've been doing this work together in this space, we've gone all the way from, we have energy healing, we have mindfulness, we have meditation, we have the scientific aspects of growth and evolution, and then we embrace, spirituality, and not like we like to study the different methodologies behind all the religions, but anyway, the point is the Soul Relaunch embraces and encompasses such a wide array of growth tools, and I want to combine spirituality with practicality. That is my goal. This Mindset Magic series has a lot of the practicality. That's where I'm going with this. Is that there is a practical part of growth. Like, with the spiritual stuff is really fun, and like, the woo woo and the energy work, which, by the way, energy work is actually scientifically backed up. So that also goes into the practicality of things. And then, there's our building that relationship with our higher self and all of the magicalness, right? Well, today we're bringing it down to earth. Like, we're getting so practical today. I want you guys to really pay attention to what we're about to talk about, because it could possibly change the trajectory of your life. Like, I know a lot of us know all of this, right? I'm sure all of you watching this, I'm sure you already know all of this stuff, but there is something different about when somebody guides you step by step and tells you what to do. Like, if I were to say, go work on your mind, or like, hey, I worked on my mind, I shifted the way that I think about things, and I'm telling other people, and I'm like, yeah, go work on your mind. Or like, somebody tells me, if my coach was to be like, okay, go do mindset work tonight, where would we start, right? Like, would you know where to start if somebody was like, okay, do some mindset work tonight, like work on your limiting beliefs, which is something else that we do in here, right? But to actually do the things, it takes guidance, and it takes patience, and it takes commitment and consistency. So this work is not for just anyone. And I say this on one of the slides of like, you are special. If you're here, there's a reason you're here. You're not here by accident. Like, you're not in the Soul Relaunch by accident. You're not interested in mindset magic or mindset work on accident. Like it interests you. And so, what am I going to help you solve tonight? Okay, we're going to slow down the self sabotage. Last week we talked about self sabotage. I'm going to get into that in a second. But I kind of did something that later on I'm like, ugh, I did something that I absolutely hate when other coaches do this. So I'm going to talk about that in a minute. Number two, we're going to get out of FOMO. Fear of missing out. Okay, I almost said fear of making a mistake because that's something else that we can get out of. But get out of FOMO. Fear of missing out. Oh my gosh, this is so huge. And then three, stop repeating mistakes. Like you're gonna notice your negative patterns. And of course, you're not gonna stop repeating mistakes as soon as you like watch this, right? No, you have to do the work. All right. I'm gonna give you what I did and what I'm learning from my studies and my certifications and my coach and what I've done to help myself. Again, I can only share with you what has worked for me. I've done all of this, what we're about to go, and it's changed my life like completely. And then also your fear of change. We're trying to help you, like I'm here to help you be excited about change and embrace it and welcome it and be like, oh my God, I love change. And then, so what is the solution to these problems? Like, what is the solution to everything I just said? It's developing awareness of your thoughts. And again, we talk about this all the time, but how do you really do it, right? And self-talk. And so let me bring up Facebook right now so I can see messages because I can't right now when I'm sharing. I'm going to invite some of you guys and then we're going to get started because I know we got started late. I apologize. I worked over a little bit and yeah. And then I had Izzy. I'm a mom. We're all moms in here and parents. And so that's what happens. We're not going to focus on that, but it's going to happen. And so go ahead and get your journal out, get a pen out. Like we're going to get to work here. And let's actually ground. Like, just take a deep breath in through your nose. Oh, and just exhale. And get grounded. Like, really just visualize those tree roots coming out of the bottom of your feet and just get grounded. Get your energy, even push your energy down into the earth and transmute it into positive energy. Let go of the stress of the day. Let go of attachments of chaos and drama. Or maybe you had a good day today. Oh my gosh, I would love to hear about your great day. Like, yeah. And one that wasn't busy. No, like I was so busy today. But what's one good thing that happened today? Like, you can write it down or you can comment it, whatever you want. But like, what's something good that happened today? I would love to hear about it. And how are you doing today? Are you guys good? How are you feeling? Like just to get in the moment, bring your attention to me for just the next like 30 minutes, okay? Please. I promise you're going to love it. So let's go. Let's get started now. Hi, Megan. Hi, Sarah. I'm not sure who else is watching because I can't see, but hello, ladies. All right, so last week we talked about self-sabotage. It happens when we need to do something and we don't do it and we don't know why, okay? And you learned the 3 steps to slowing down self-sabotage. Again, I'm not going to say stop because we will never stop it ever. So number 1, awareness. Number 2, pause, reflect, reframe. So like after you become aware of the self-sabotaging situation or behavior. And then 3, action. Okay. So awareness, reflection, and action. But I did something that that I like talk so much shit about if someone else does. If another coach does this, I am like, oh my God, they did the thing. And here it is. There's one thing I cannot stand about the coaching and online learning industry. And let me know if you guys agree or whoever agrees. Okay. Let me know I'm not the only one that thinks this, but I mean, it's not thinking. I feel this way. But when we access a free training that promises to solve, this exact problem that we have, so we watch it and, we give up 30 minutes to an hour of our life. We learn the what, like we learn of like, why we have that problem. I didn't write that on the slide, but like we learn. So like last week, I told you why you have that problem, right? And a little bit of like the how to possibly rise above it, and some valuable information. But at the end of the day, we're kind of left hanging without knowing like how to do the real thing, like how to really do them. Like how do we become aware? How do we reflect? Like what do we reflect on? And then the third was like to take action. Okay, well, what kind of action? So basically you're left with more questions and like no real solutions besides scheduling a clarity call, which like I always want you guys to schedule a clarity call, or buying their programs or investing in their coaching offers, right? Like that's usually like every time you find a training, that's what they do. And so, of course, if you're here in this private Facebook group, of course, I want to see you invest money in yourself by purchasing my coaching offers and to take your experience to a whole new level of deeper healing, clearing emotional blocks, connecting with your higher self, and not only stepping into your purpose, but like creating a fucking plan of action to manifest abundance and do the things you want to do and step into your role as a light worker and into your power. But I also want you to simply own the fact that you're here. Like embrace that, please. Like do that right now of like, I'm here, I'm watching this, I took time out of my day. You might also be you might be mothering at the same time of listening to me. And I just want you to own that and to be proud of yourself and like that you're here, you're putting time into this. And this isn't easy work, okay? It's not work that everyone does. You guys have heard me, like, it's just like I'm a broken record. You are special. You know you're here to do important work in the world. And this Mindset Magic series is the vehicle to take you there. And I am not over exaggerating. I am not over promising. I am not 100%. If you do this work, you guys, I promise you that you're going to experience life in a whole new way. Like you're gonna go through those, what was it, 6 steps of a spiritual awakening. And I asked you guys where you were at, and I got a lot of feedback from that. So thank you so much, because I want to know where you're at. But working on your mindset, okay, it's the ticket. So back to the good stuff. So if you don't know how to do this first step, which was to become aware, right, of the self-sabotage, the rest of it does not matter, okay? If you don't know how to become aware of what is going on in your mind, there is nothing, like, honestly, you can't even, it's hard to even go deeper into emotional clearing. It's harder to go, and energetically, when we're doing energy healing, when we're doing, meditation, this is literally what this work encompasses. Literally, all of it is the mind. If you can't be aware, it's really hard to go anywhere else. And so all of that training last week was just to show you how you're standing in your own way. So great, but what's the use of knowing if you don't know how to fix it? Like the actual things to do. So we talked about the 3 steps. So this week we're going to dissect, and I don't know if I spelled that word right, but the first step is awareness. Okay, so over the next 4 weeks, and I think I was making this slide and I didn't finish it, but you'll be taken on a journey step by step through the process of taking control of how you think. And so 1, developing your awareness, 2, perception, 3, taking action, and then the 4th, I didn't finish it, I will add it on there, is to put all that together, and we're going to actually go deeper into spirituality at that point, and your energy and working with that. But we have to do the mindset stuff first, okay? So number 1, the first, getting this off. So get your journals out and everything, because we're about to do some journaling. But developing awareness of thoughts and self-talk, that is what this presentation, this is what this workshop is about. So there are 2 layers of thoughts. The ones that we can hear, okay, as we experience as a voice in our head, okay? So the voices in our head. And don't pay attention. If you know what CBT and REBT are, amazing. Please look them up. If you don't, I added them on here because if you guys would want to do more research into what we're going to be talking about, I highly recommend it. CBT is that's going to be the techniques and tools that we do with the self-talk, okay? The first layer of our thoughts. The second layer is the deeper level beliefs. It's that determine our opinions, our perspectives, and judgments, and that is going to be the REBT, tools and techniques, okay? And so we're going to be talking about the first layer. The thoughts that we can hear and experience as a voice in our head. So self-talk is the part of your inner voice's chatter directed at yourself, or ourself. Our self-talk can be an inner cheerleader that motivates and soothes, or it can be an inner critic that is harsh and self-defeating. Our self-talk impacts how we feel about ourselves, and so as well as how we behave, and is ultimately responsible for our experience of life and the outcomes that occur because of our actions. So if you guys, I know a lot of you know again, but like if you notice, our thoughts create our emotions of like how we feel, and then how we feel determines our behavior, okay? Like and then the outcome. So our behavior determines the outcome. It's like, I love it. I light up with this stuff, as you guys can see. Who else here? Oh, hi, Alyssa, if you're still on here. Okay. So why does the way we talk to ourselves matter anyway? Like, what's the fucking point of this training? What does it matter? So you might have heard of the self-fulfilling prophecy. Let me know in the comments, like, have you heard of the self-fulfilling prophecy? Let me know. Whatever your thoughts are. I don't know if I can see them or not, because I'm not seeing any. So maybe nobody is making any comments, and that's fine. But let me know. Let me know if you're watching the replay. If you know what the self-fulfilling prophecy is, it's a psychological concept that basically means that we will live up to our own expectations, or we're going to create the situations that we expect. So whatever we expect to happen, that's going to happen usually. So if you're constantly telling yourself you're a failure, it impacts the way you feel, aka your vibration frequency, your mood. Okay, so these can come in as like discouragement, self-doubt, anxiety. And so this impacts how you act, and then how the choices you make, that impacts that. And so either you'll make poor choices, like deciding not to try, or when you do take actions, you'll half-ass it, and you'll be like, why bother? Like, who else has done that? I do this. Like, why am I going to bother with doing that? Because, like, whatever. You're going to fail anyway, right? That's what you tell yourself. And so it's not because you're really a failure, it's because of your thinking. You guys, like, this was almost difficult for me to understand until I got to a certain point. So if this isn't really making sense to you, that's okay. Stick around, okay? I'll help you, because this is not confusing, but your whole life you thought that you're just a failure, or like we just think that we are a certain way because that we've been programmed that way, which we're going to talk about that now, but well, in a minute. Here, let's do this first. So self-talk is simply a habit of thinking. I want you to act like, where are you at right now? How are you talking to yourself today? Like, let's put in the chat, just put like a 1, 2, or 3. So 1, I'm an effing idiot. I never do anything right. Why is life so hard? Like, are those thoughts that come in your head? Do you think those often? Like, which one of these are you most of the time? Okay, so 2, I know I can do better if only I could set some boundaries. Like, you know that you're capable sometimes, but does this sound familiar? And then 3, I love myself and I know how capable I am. I'm a badass bitch. So which one is it? And that's good. Like, I used to be like, oh my gosh, if I even thought like number 3, like, that's so conceited. How could I think that way about myself? So no judgment at all. Judgment-free zone. Like, what is it? How do you think about yourself? So if you're a 1 or a 2, it's okay. Like, I want to give you a hug. And you know what? There are days when I think like that too. I want you guys to know, like, when you start to work on your mindset, you still are going to have shitty days, and you're going to have shitty thoughts that you think about yourself, and you're going to talk to yourself in horrible ways. However, it is way different knowing what to do afterwards versus not knowing and just thinking that that's the way life is. So these are things I want you to know. I want you to really know. Write these down, please. Write them down in your journal. Number 1, your thoughts are not fucking facts. Your thoughts are not facts. They are not real. Like, they're not 100% scientifically nothing, okay? Oh, now I can see some comments. I remember you going over a little bit of hi, Katie. Hi, Megan. One on the bad days, but I've been working. Okay, cool. Thank you. Love it. I love it that you're engaging. Oh, and Katie works with me, so she knows, like, we got off later tonight. I forgot that tonight was 6:30. So that's why this is kind of later. I apologize. Hi, Linda. Hi, Lindsay. Okay, girls. I love it. Now I'm seeing everybody. Okay, Linda, it's taken a lifetime, but I've made it to number 3. Awesome. I love it. So, Linda, you know that, yeah, we're number 3 on most days, right? But you know that it goes between 2. And some days we'll be questioning ourselves of like, I don't know. Like, maybe, I mean, I need to do more of this and whatever. Like we go back, but then we know what to do. And so, number 2, okay, well, number 1, let me finish that. So, your thoughts are not facts. Your thoughts they're self-limiting, and we're going to talk more about these later on, okay, in this. So self-limiting, then we have assumptions, then reruns, and then others, thoughts, and opinions. And we are empaths in this group. Like, we are empathic people who take on other feelings and thoughts. And so this is where it can get really, we question, like, what is ours and who is everyone else's, which we'll talk about that later as well. But I just want to know that, like, I get it when we're not sure what is ours. This was huge for me when I first did this work. And you guys, I did it on accident. I literally did this work, the majority of the first part of it, on accident. I had no idea what I was doing. I didn't know. I just started to question my thoughts and question my beliefs of like, wait a minute, somebody raised me that way, but does that mean it's really true? And I did that on my own. This is where I know like divine guidance came in and my awakening happened the way it happened because I just can't explain anything else, right? I can't explain that I came across a workshop like this, or somebody told me about CBT or EBT, or REBT or mindset work. Like, I had no idea, none. And so that's what makes this even more like, and I'd love to hear your story, whoever's watching this. If that happened with you too, like, I'd love to hear it because it's just so, you can't explain it. And so 2, you were not born this way. Like, you were not born with these thoughts. You learned how to think this way by observing the way your mother and your dad, your father talked, and your uncles and your grandparents, and how everyone talked to themselves. Also how they talked about other people. Okay, did you grow up with some gossipers? Let me know. Let me know if you grew up with people who gossiped all the time or who like thrived off of drama. If there was always a bunch of chaos in your life because that was just the way life was. Like, what was it? Also, like how they talked about you. That's where we learned all this. Like how we were talked to, what our parents or our close friends, even growing up, like who they told us we were. That's who we were, or who we were trying to like, who we loved, and all that. Okay, and so then 3, you weren't born fearing failure. We were not born this way. So it kind of goes in with number 2, but I wanted to put this because it's like you weren't born fearing that. So when you were a toddler and you made a mistake and, we just kept going on, but then an adult comes in and is like, acts like it's just like the world's going to end because we fell down, or they shamed us for doing something quote unquote wrong, right? Let me know like if this is resonating. Like that's how our thoughts were created. Like that's how we were programmed. So you this is huge right here, especially for my moms that are on right now. When I first, like this slide was when I started to make this slide, or I started my teacher mentioned this. So I have to tell you guys this because it's like, this is huge for parents. So you may have just realized that you have programmed limiting beliefs and harsh talk into your children, just as we were programmed. And you're also realizing that you've been programmed this way too, and it hurts. Like, my stomach, like, because I did this with my son, with my 18-year-old son. He had me I had him. Well, he had me when I was 20. I had him. And so he was, I raised him in that unconscious state of being. I wasn't awake. And I mean, Izzy was, it happened when I was 33. So she was like 4 when I had my awakening. So she was right there, like on the edge of, thank God I awakened when she was 4, because then I started to really watch like how I talked to her. I can still work on like what I talk about when I'm around her. And we all can. Like this, again, this is no judgment. It is what it is. Like, no egos here. It's okay. Like, nobody is judging. So, thank God you know me or anyone else who does mindset work and you're paying attention to this workshop because it's my very strong belief, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that we can all be reprogrammed. Like, I have no doubt in it because I did it. I know it because I did it. So it's not like I just have read it or researched it. Like, I did this work. So how can we get started on this? So this is the part where I didn't talk about this last week, and I wish I had. But anyway, that would have made it way much longer. So number one, and this is what I like to call the magic. So number one, by committing, engaging, and participating in this, what you're doing right now. So like coming here on Wednesday nights at 7 or 7:30, whenever we get started, or watching the replay, doing the work, doing the journal prompts, we're about to talk about. And two, becoming aware of your positive and negative self-talk. So like we're not letting out the good stuff. Like that's actually what you want to pay attention to more. And the negative self-talk too, of course, I'm going to shift that. But you get what I'm saying. So like those are the two things. That's all you have to do. Like one of my biggest like goals or intentions with this training is to keep it simple to where you don't have to do a whole bunch at one time. So we're only going to go over the first part in this training tonight. We're not going to go very deep because you guys, if you have a lot of work to do, you're not going to do it. I wouldn't. And so first, what is the general predisposition of your inner voice? Okay. Like what do you think? And I asked you guys this, I think, like, I don't know if Lindsay's still on here, but I asked her, if to pay attention to her emotions and how she talks to her. Like that's what I do with my clients. Like pay attention to how you talk to yourself throughout the day. So like what percentage, I'm going to get your journal out, but like I'll go through each one of these. What percentage of the time do you think your inner voice falls into these three categories? So number one, what percentage out of 100 every day do you criticize yourself, put others down, and talk negatively? So just like you can share it. I'd love to know. But if you don't, that's okay. Just write it down. Like out of 100, what do you do? Number two, what's the percentage that you make excuses? Do you blame others? Do you tell yourself it's not your fault? It's okay. Again, no judgment. Nobody has to know what you're writing down. Just like, what is it? What is it? It is what it is. You can't change anything until you're aware of it. And stop lying to yourself. I didn't put this on here, but self-honesty was me being honest with myself 100%, no bullshit, was like, it was the best thing ever. I stopped fucking lying to myself, and then I stopped lying to everyone else because I would lie to people to tell them what they wanted to hear so they wouldn't be mad at me, or I would please them, right? People-pleasing behavior. And so three, what's the percentage that you tell yourself if it will be okay? What's the percentage you encourage yourself to learn from the situation? So just those three. What are your percentages with that? Again, it's not a big deal. It is what it is. And if it's going too fast, if I go to a slide and you're like not done yet, this replay will be done. And if you guys want a PDF with this, let me know. Like I didn't make one last week because I wasn't sure if you guys wanted one. And to be honest with you, like I'll just send you these slides. But I want to make this easy for if you want to do the work. Lindsay, I'll do one for you because I know you're. Anyone, I'll do one for anyone that's in here. But if you want it, then I'll do it. But I'm not going to just do it and throw it in your face. I'm not here to make you do anything you don't want to do. So before I move on, I love this picture. I want you to know your inner critic is not you. Okay? Like, let me know that you hear that. Like, say yes or whatever. Put yes or I know or whatever. Something. Like, let me know that you know that your inner critic is not you. It is not you. Megan, I criticize myself probably 75% of the time. Okay, there we go. That's information. It's information. That's all it is. It's information, Megan. That's amazing. All of this is information. Take the emotion out of it. Take the egos out. Like, just whatever. Your inner critic is not you. Write that shit down. So think of yourself like this picture. That is your inner critic, the girl with the megaphone. Or maybe that's you with the megaphone and you're telling your inner critic to fuck off. And you're like, just shut up. But yeah, this was huge for me too. And the whole, my thoughts are not facts. I used to believe my thoughts. Let me know if you guys in the chat, like, do you believe your thoughts? Do you think your thoughts are up until this point? Or do you give your thoughts way, way, way too much credit? Way more credit than what they deserve? Do you do that? Let me know. Is this the first time you're hearing that your thoughts are not facts? I mean, you're gonna hear me say that. You probably already have 5 million times. So here we go. This is what we're gonna do with the inner critic, or with the mean girl. All right. Here's what we're gonna do, because this is how you create space. That is the remedy. That is the solution for helping you get in control of this, or like becoming aware. You have to create space between yourself and this inner critic. So we're gonna give her a name. And of course, we can call her Karen. Karen is like the name that is like the negative Nancy or whatever, or you could call it Nancy. I just call mine the mean girl. I don't really have a name for her, or I say Karen sometimes, like, oh, shut up, Karen. But when you can call it something, when you name it something, it will help to remind you that this is a mindset or a habit of thinking. It's not who you are. So I used to completely believe my thoughts. Now I want to punch that critic in the face. Yeah, right? Like, that's how I felt. Oh my God, Lindsay, like, that's how I felt. I felt when I found this out of like, what? My thoughts are not fucking real. Like, they're not facts. Like, I haven't had to believe them this whole time. And then I got really mad when I was like, you mean I could change my beliefs? I got really mad with that. I still do, because I think this is stuff that needs to be taught, because to think that our children believe that I don't know. I want Izzy knows, like, your thoughts aren't facts. Like, it still is kind of like, Mom, you're crazy, whatever. Her mind's not fully developed yet. So that's why I'm trying to catch her. And I can get really, really, really passionate about this work. And I can get really because it's just that amazing. And so, what is your inner critic's name? I want to hear. If you want to share in the chat, I'd love to hear what your inner critic's name is. Hi, Darla. Good evening. Thanks for coming. I didn't invite I didn't do the thing because I'll just tag everybody in it afterwards. But so what is your inner mean girl? What's her name? Mine is Karen. Okay. Mine is Karen. I think I might have to put that in and I want to kind of talk about, you guys are going to hear me say, self-talk trigger, and also fixed mindset trigger. We're going to talk a little bit about, because let me tell you a secret really quick. Let me tell you a secret. Do you guys really want to know what you're learning right now? How to do, or what to have? How to have a growth mindset. This is actually growth mindset training. I just changed the name. This is part of my training that I got in my certification, but this is how you nurture and strengthen a growth mindset. This is the first part of it, okay? Lindsay, it'll be Becky. Okay, I love it. I love Becky. Okay, Becky it is. So you can even write that down, like, inner critic Becky. Like, shut up, Becky. and it's gonna kind of like, you're gonna laugh about it at first, but like after a while, you're gonna be like, shut up. And this is where, like, oh my gosh, I can go so far into this differently, of like people that have been put into like mental hospitals because of these voices in their head. Like, we could go so far into this, but we're not. Megan, mean girl Sharon. Yes. Sharon, Karen, whatever. Like, I love it. Yes, please let me know. You're a mean girl. Okay, how do we catch them? How do we catch the self-talk? How do we catch the Beckys and the Sharons and the Karens? Like, we do that by becoming aware of the triggers, right? Like, you guys know, mindful morning week, the mindful week. The second day for emotional clearing, emotional healing, is to pay attention to your triggers. So same thing. What are the self-talk triggers? And we're going to go through them, and you guys are going to be like, oh my God, that's crazy. Like, this is fucking crazy. Like, I'm telling you, this is probably one of my favorite workshops I've ever done. I love this content. I love this training. So, all right, there are 4 common ways that your inner critic shines through of negative to your world. Sorry, I totally had a typo there. I don't even know. Shines through negativity to your world. There we go. Trying to catch it in the act is the best way to work out your awareness muscle. Again, this is a muscle. This is a muscle, just like meditation's a muscle, mindfulness is a muscle, focus is a muscle. The more that you do things, the stronger it's going to be, the easier it's going to get. This is not instant gratification land. Instant gratification land is gone. If you want some instant gratification, this is not where you get it. This is long-term transformation. So I'm going to start putting that. This is not instant gratification. This is long-term transformation. And so who wants long-term transformation and who wants instant gratification? Hey, it's okay. It's all information. But if you're not willing to do the work and you think that, it's just, this is hard, call it out right now, because you want to know what? That's your fucking Sharon or your Karen or whatever. It's not you. Hi, Elizabeth. Darla, exactly what I thought. Sharon. Okay, Sharon. All right, so there are 4 common ways that your inner critic shines through, right? 1, self-limiting. 2, your assumptions. 3, reruns. And 4, others' thoughts. Those are like usually like they're 4 common ways, right? They're self-limiting. These are the kind of thoughts that we think are usually that. And so let me talk a little bit. I'll talk a little bit about each one. So self-limiting is when your Karen is trying to limit you. All right? That is what self-limiting means. It's when she's trying to limit you. She says things like, it's too hard, I can't do this, or it's too risky, or I don't have time. So ultimately, Sharon likes making excuses. And so this is even more common if you lean like toward having a fixed mindset. So a fixed mindset is things are the way they are, and you can't, and this, my dad had the kind of a fixed mindset. And you know what? We don't all have a fixed or all have a growth. There's all different percentages. So, but if you think that you can't learn anymore right now, like you are an adult, and so you know what you know, and you are not able to learn more, that's a fixed mindset. So like we discussed kind of earlier, so when you believe your abilities are fixed, like I just said, and you believe failing means you are a failure, the best way to avoid humiliation is to not try at all. So which is what excuses are for, right? And so your Sharon tries to shut down possibilities and solutions before you even get started. And then in your mind, Sharon says, what's the point? I'm going to fail anyway. Or why am I even going to try that? I'm not good at that stuff. Like, I'm not naturally good, so I'm not going to try anymore. If I'm supposed to do this, I should be able just to do it. It should come natural. Like, these are all those self-limiting thoughts. So number 2, the assumption. So Sharon's belief, and I'm going to say Sharon, and then I'll use Becky, whatever, whoever else wants to tell me they're mean girl, believe they're always right. Okay? This is the assumptions, all right? Believe they're always right and that they're psychic. And so they like to think they can read other people's minds and assume what they're thinking and feeling. So they like to jump to conclusions and make snap judgments, and the factor opinion activity is great, which I have. I'll give that to you guys. It's called factor opinion. We'll probably do it next week, but it's great if your Karen likes to assume things. So look out for your Karen saying things like, everyone will talk about me. Okay, so like, let's say you go on a date with somebody, or you do something wrong, or something you have an offer to do, and you're like, no, everybody will be talking about me. Like, I can hear my mom right now. I love her if she's watching, but she does this. Or used to anyway. And so also, I made a fool out of myself, or she doesn't like me. So if you meet a new friend or somebody else's friend, and then later on they're like, oh, I don't think she really liked me, you know. Or your inner critic is making up stories that aren't even true, right? They're not even true. So once you know this, you won't fall for it so easily. All right, 3, rerun. So most of our self-talk happens on autopilot. Like we don't even know it's happening. This is probably where a lot of you are. This is where I was like 6 months ago. This is why I didn't start talking about it that much, because I was in this place of like really just not distinguishing between a thought and my self-talk. I had to really get those clear. And again, it's a muscle. The more you do it, the better you're going to get. And so our repetitive automatic thoughts have been going on for so fucking long that we don't even notice them. So chances are that your Sharon or Becky or Karen says things all the time that you don't even actually believe. But you let her get away with it because you're so used to it. And often these habits of thought become habits of speech. And so you might even catch yourself saying these things to others like out loud. Okay, so be on the lookout for 2 things. You ready? Number 1, thoughts, especially memories or anticipated events. They tend to replay a scene in your mind over and over again, like a mini movie. And 2, phrases you say to yourself or others repeatedly, especially if they are making a judgment about yourself. So for example, quote unquote, I'm always late, or I'm an idiot, or here we go again, or this always happens to me. Like those things. Do you hear yourself saying that, like just on auto, like I'm always late, like that was me, I'm always late. Or I'm an idiot, or here we go again, or this always happens to me. And then number 4, others' thoughts. This is huge. This, I should have put a big like star beside this, because when I realized that half of my beliefs were because of what had been placed upon me, or like what I'd heard others' opinions, like my dad or my mom, like they weren't really my beliefs or my thoughts. It was like a breakthrough. And so sometimes your Karen is simply parroting someone else. You'll be shocked when you realize how many of the thoughts that go through your mind are not your own. It's time to get other people out of your fucking head, okay? I think I wrote this down somewhere. The good news is, like I already mentioned, your inner dialogue has been programmed throughout your life, and your nagging mom now takes up residence in your mind. And the good news is you can kick her out, okay? Or your Becky or Karen or Sharon. The key for this one is to look, question the thoughts you have about what you should, quote unquote, or shouldn't do. These words are a sign that your belief, or that the belief behind them, was planted by someone else. If you actually believed it, in most cases, you wouldn't be telling yourself that you should do it. You'd just simply do it. Who else is like, yes? Like, I'd love to hear, like, who else is like, wow, yes, this is freaking crazy. That's how I was. And so, let me see if okay, let's go back here. So real quick, I added these in here because I want to give you guys examples of what I just said. So like examples of the fixed mindset, or the triggers. I'm not good enough. I will probably fail. So that's self-sabotage. Like you don't even try something because you think you're going to fail. Or I can't do this. Or I don't want to risk it. I shouldn't have to try so hard. What else? If I'm not naturally good at this, I should just quit. I just said that. It's not my fault. So like we're not taking responsibility. This makes me uncomfortable. I'm not doing it. And why try if it won't change anything? Oh my gosh. When I wrote that, I'm like, I had like a little like, oh my God, I've said that so many times over my lifetime. So let me know, like out of these that I put, like what is it? And this is where you can really tune into your body. This is a perfect exercise for tuning into your body and being like, okay, like where did you feel that at? did you have a feeling in your body? Because guess what? That's your chakras. That's in your chakras, you guys. And this is usually in our solar plexus, which is above our belly button. But in our stomach, we'll start to feel like a stomach, like, oh my God, I feel it in my gut. It's your solar plexus right there. And so I just love it. And then your sacral, and oh, I love it. Okay, so self-talk reflection. So when we notice our self-talk, when we start to, and how we do this, how we notice it, I really should have put this on a slide, and I'll do this when I do the Q&A afterwards, because I'm going to do the same thing I did last week where we stopped this and then I got on a live and we do the Q&A, okay? But I want to show you guys, like, it's by getting present in the present moment. That is what it is. And so I need to add that slide in here. But so I want you guys to ask yourself, whose voice am I hearing? So when you notice the negative self-talk, one of those triggers happens, and we'll go through the triggers here in a second again. But also ask yourself, do I really believe that I should do this? And again, if you're feeling a sense of guilt, it's probably not your own. It's probably not your own thought, okay? Your own belief. And if yes, make it a must and do it. Like whatever the thought is, you do it. And then if not, if this is someone else's hijacking your mind, tell them to get the F out, and then ask yourself, what do I really believe? And that is when you start to take your power back. That last question, what do I really believe? You've been believing and framing your reality and your life and your relationships and your interactions. You've been judging and criticizing yourself because you have been programmed. You've had these other beliefs that aren't even yours, and they're not even real or true, or like they're not part of who you are, your truest essence, right? And so it's so empowering when you're like, I can choose what I believe. It is like, I literally feel a release just now when I got to that question and just saying it. What do I really believe? This is where coaching comes in. This is what I love to do with my clients. I love, love, love this work. This is my favorite. I will definitely do this for the rest of my life. So don't worry if you're not quite ready now. I'll still be here. But I love this work. This is the transformative work when you stop believing you're Karen or Sharon, okay? So what triggers it? Like, what are the actual things that happen? Tell me. So when you're thinking about taking on a big challenge or learning something new, what goes through your mind? I want to just put in the comments if you want. What is it? And another way to do this, I'm going to ask you guys, I'm going to go through these questions, and then you can either write it in the comments or in your journal of tell me where you're at with this trigger. I gotta let my cat in. Come here, Smokey. Lindsay, Smokey says hi. You're still on here. Come here, Smokes. Okay, so let me know for that right there. When you're thinking about taking on a big challenge or learning something new, is that something that always triggers your negative self-talk? Is sometimes it does or never it does? Okay? So for me, when I'm thinking about taking on a big challenge, now I get excited and I'm like, oh my gosh, yes. So with RCI, this new job or this, the travel guide, I had some guilt and shame and judging myself and being mad that I have to do it and that I'm not farther or more successful yet with my coaching business. And then I had to be like, you know what? I had to change my thoughts, because I wasn't feeling good with the thoughts I was thinking. Do you guys get it now? To where you know what? maybe I do live in la la land sometimes, but I feel better and I feel good and I love who I am. And so the second one, let's get going through this. I know I'm not trying to keep you guys all night. So when you're thinking about making a change, what comes in? Do you start to look at how it can all go wrong? What about when someone criticizes you? What do you think about that when somebody criticizes you? Do you let it get to you? What about when you fail at something? And I almost didn't put this one because I don't believe we fail at anything. I believe it's all information and it's just feedback. Failure is feedback. But I didn't always believe that. So before you believe differently, when you fail or you think you fail at something, do you, with me, with my business, with starting this travel guide, this other job, I felt like I failed in my business. And then I had to shift that to like, nope, that's feedback. I need to learn. There's other stuff I need to do. I need to start investing in, outsourcing. Da 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 da. It just led me down a whole other path. Then the next one, when your reputation is on the line, or you worry what others will think, what starts to come in your mind? And these are just triggers, you guys. These are things to get your mind going as to what your Karen and Becky and Sharon says. Or when something goes wrong, do you beat yourself up or blame someone else? When someone else makes a mistake, do you judge them, criticize them? When you procrastinate, or when you're feeling lazy, and when you have a conflict. And so these are just things that can help you get going with how you do talk to yourself. Another thing is understanding the way your inner critic tends to think will help you know what you can do to tame it. And so your inner critic's personality kind of goes through all of these. And as I was doing this, I'm like, well, sometimes it's the worrier, right? It worries. It's like, I don't know about that. Or like points out everything that can go wrong, right? Stirs up emotions of anxiety and fear, expects the worst. Or the critic constantly judges and evaluates your behavior and points out your flaws, right? Jumps on any mistake you make, right? Reminds you of past failures, compares you to others. Or 3, the victim. It tells you that you're hopeless, not making progress. This is where I was a little bit, the victim of like, oh my gosh, I'm not making progress. Life is so hard. My business is too hard. It's too hard to have a business. It tells me that, my Karen was like, there's something wrong with you. You're incapable. You're not smart enough. You're not good enough to be a coach. That's what I was really thinking about. And then for the perfectionist, like, does it push you to do better? But even when you do better, you feel like you're not good enough still. Like, you're just never good enough. There's always more you should be doing. Mistakes and setbacks must be avoided or quickly moved past, right? It pushes you to seek external validation, achievement, and status and acceptance by others before you actually, are good at something. You're actually proud of yourself. You got to have other people think, be proud of you first before you'll be proud of yourself. And so now that you know what to look out for, okay, so you can notice your inner mean girl in action, I want you guys to go out in the world and practice observing this. And so when you catch her in the act, this is what you can do when you catch her. When you catch yourself having those thoughts, first of all, well, you can either ignore her, all right? So you cannot take Karen seriously. So when Karen starts rambling on, or Becky starts rambling on about, or hops on a negative train, imagine Becky as a funny voice, okay? Or is wearing a clown suit. Something that is like, will just completely shift your whole energy to like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Becky is not you, and it doesn't know what it's talking about, right? Stop giving Becky so much power. Like, she's not even real, right? She's this imaginary thing. She's not even real, and you're giving her so much power. And so number 2, protect her. So Becky is easily influenced. So always ask yourself, if you really believe what Becky's saying, okay, and we already talked about getting people out of your head, one way to do this is, on the page, is pay special attention for any thoughts coming from Becky or Karen or Sharon that sound eerily similar to things other people say to you, such as your parents, the media, authority figures, okay? So choose what you expose Becky to wisely, because she's apt to believe it and repeat it. Remember, this is not you, okay? Becky is not you. That is your mean girl. And then the last one, observe your mean girl. Observe her as often as you can. Remind yourself to watch your Sharon, Karen, Becky. Notice what she's thinking about. If you don't like what she's thinking about, choose a new thought. You're in charge. Take your fucking power back, not her. Many of the activities that we've went through today, okay, many of the things that I've told you guys about and have discussed throughout this are designed to help you observe, record, and redirect your mean girl, okay? And so remember that this takes time, you guys. Like, remember that this takes time. It's not going to happen like it's not going to be easy, but this takes commitment and it takes consistency. So I'm going to jump off here and I'm going to get over on a live really quick to take any questions or like talk for a minute. And yeah, so I'll see you in a minute.